week. We'll look back over the weekend's games, deal with some of the news headlines as well. One of them in Scotland, Ruffy, Walter Smith, possibly the SFA looking for Walter to come and rescue the national side and go back in as manager. We had a chat with him last week. Didn't get a sense he wanted retirement, did you?
No, I didn't. I think you asked him all the right questions. I think he was in a pretty good comfort zone, enjoying his grandchildren and doing travelling, so you would wonder why he would. But as I've said numerous occasions, when people say no, when they're actually asked the question and the importance of it, you know, to be a Scotland manager, it'll be interesting to see and hear it coming from Walter himself, whether he would be interested.
Yeah, I always feel as if $500,000 a year sometimes can influence you to say, yes, I'm back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the money's good, but I don't think as far as Walter's concerned, I think he'd be coming back, excuse me, to help the nation. I think he's been there before. He knows putting a smile on Scotland fans' faces is a big, big thing. And I'm sure if he wanted to, he would be an ideal candidate.
Yeah, okay, let's cut to the chase. We're running out of candidates. I mean, Alex McLeish was somebody that I suggested Walter thought would be a good idea. Some people in the media are putting forward Steve Clarke because of what he's achieving at Kilmarnock.
No, again, we'd have to hear it from the Kilmarnock manager. I think he's done particularly well at Kilmarnock, but I think he's been far too long being a number two and now being given the chance to be number one, and he'll be enjoying every minute of it, making the decisions. So for him to ditch that and then go to Scotland, I think that would be a big ask.
Okay, so no.
No, I don't think so, no.
Alex McLeish?
Alex McLeish for me all day long, and I can't understand, well, maybe they have spoken to him, maybe he's given them a no. I would be surprised if Alec would say no, because he's been there before and he knows what it's all about.
Yeah, I think he would take it. Okay, you can give us your view on that at PLZ Soccer on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Let's look back over the weekend's games. No doubt about the outstanding result. Involves Steve Clarke, 1-0 against Celtic, set themselves up well. Celtic had a double blow, losing Boyata and, of course, Christopher Ayer.
Yep, they were reasonable enough excuses to shuffle the pack, but I think the evidence is there for everybody to see. This isn't the Celtic team of old. I think obviously there are a lot of players missing. They look a lot disjointed. I think even defence, you know, Lustig been out, not a ready-made replacement for him. People are patching in there. Centre-halves are chopped and changed every week. Obviously Tierney's playing all the time. Midfield just doesn't look like the midfield, the strength, the Armstrong in there, and Roberts on the other side when Forrest wasn't doing well. Sinclair's not even starting the game. So Brendan Rodgers has got a lot to think about, and obviously we've got the Dembele situation, who for me just doesn't look interested.
Yeah, come on, Ruffy, pay some tribute to Kilmarnock. They played well and they got a great goal with Yusuf Malimbu.
Yeah, I love the organisation, the Kilmarnock side. They've obviously done their homework in Celtic, as Hearts did, you know, but it was a different kind of tackling Celtic. I thought they gave Celtic all the possession in the world. They know that Celtic like possession in their own half, making passes, trying to draw you out, and then playing the killer pass, but Kilmarnock never bought into that. They get everybody behind the ball. They just said, come on then, you know, let's see what you can do in the last third and we'll just deal with that when you get there. And when they did get there, I don't think there's many times that there's 45 minutes with Celtic and they don't have a shot on target. And that just shows you how good Kilmarnock played.
Yeah. Okay. On another day, Hibs would have been the result of the Saturday afternoon. They defeated Rangers at Ibrox. So one thing that I thought was really positive, great to see him. Paul Gascoigne was back at Ibrox. Half time came on, the whole place went absolutely crazy. Great to see Gaza.
Absolutely fantastic, and I think if the Rangers supporters get the chance, they'd be giving them a pair of boots just to come on the park and show what they're missing. Because yes, you're right, this was all about Hibs. Rangers did have chances, but the Hibs goalkeeper was in terrific form since the criticism that Neil Lennon gave him. But he's now playing really, really well. And we were on our show on Saturday, and when I saw the Hibs lineup, Darren McGregor out, Hanlon out, Effie Ambrose in the middle of a back three, I was beginning to worry, but again, Neil Lennon had worked his tactics out impeccably, got the midfield right, and the midfield was where they troubled Rangers all day long. And obviously, John McGinn did what we saw he's good at, you know, driving at teams and scoring goals.
Yeah, is he a linchpin for Scotland for the future now?
Yep, I think he's the kind of player who likes to go forward and score goals, as I said there. But you need other players round about him, and I'm sure we've got these kind of players. And I think this boy is now oozing a confidence.
Yeah, okay, so Hibs get the win. Neil Lennon after the match mentioned it was up there with what he achieved with Celtic when they took on Barcelona in the Champions League and defeated them by 2-1. High praise indeed for the Hibs players. Give us your view on that. Elsewhere, if you're going to close the gap on Celtic and move away from your nearest challengers, what about Aberdeen at Pittodrie? Hamilton Accies riddled with injuries, suspensions, good players sold. It's going to be a long season for them. You would have expected Aberdeen to win comfortably.
Yeah, but Aberdeen and Hamilton have had past previous. I think Derek McInnes, will have remembered games where they've been winning 1-0, can't get the second goal, and all of a sudden Hamilton get a penalty or whatever, and there's 2 points thrown out the window. But that never happened at the weekend. Niall McGinn's come back, and a big fan's favourite, and he was in top form. I think he was part of everything that Aberdeen did, and obviously got the goal as well.
Yeah, that's Ruffy speak. Past and previous means past games, previous history. Hamilton Accies getting wins, but not this time. Is that fair, Ruffy? I think that's fair. Anyway, apart from that, we've talked about three of the runners and riders at the top end. Not forgetting Hearts. David Milinkovic just keeps coming up and scoring important goals over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and as Craig Levine would say, normal service was resumed. 1-0, take the goal, and then say to the other team, can you get a goal against us? And it was no. And again, no, that's the way it's been in the last 4 or 5 games. They look very comfortable. Obviously, new players coming in as well, more players to pick from, and I think they'll be thinking that they can just a wee push. If they can just leapfrog over Hibs, if that was to happen, they'll start looking above to see who else they can catch.
Yeah, we're not quite sure what the natural order is in the capital at the moment, but I think Craig Levine would have been hoping that Neil Lennon's side would have dropped points at Ibrox, but they didn't. Give us your view on that, Jambos. Can you catch Hibs? Can you push all the way for maybe third place in the Premiership? What about the other matches that have taken place? Two to talk about. No doubt about the result at the bottom end. Ross County thumped Dundee at Dens Park by 4-1.
Yeah, I don't think anywhere would have saw the scoreline. I personally thought Ross County were round about nearly getting it right. Just come up against Rangers, they come up against Celtic. This is a game where Owen Coyle would have probably fancied himself to take something out of the game. I think he'd have been surprised with the scoreline, but you have to give Ross County credit. But again, Dundee look as if they're on the wobble, and I think that you could tell when that fourth goal hit the back of the net, the Dundee supporters weren't particularly happy.
Yep, and one other match, let's not forget, Motherwell Partick Thistle. Both of them needed a draw like a hole in the head.
Yeah, but if you're Alan Archibald, if you'd have said to him 2 games, 4 points out of 6, 3 against St Johnstone last week and 1 there, I think you'll be quietly happy. Unfortunately, other teams picked up points as well, so they're still in it. But again, they've got a home game against Rangers, and maybe they could take something out of that.
Okay, you can give us your view on the Scottish Premiership. Let's not forget the Premier League in England just before we finish, Ruffy. The worst time to leave the Liverpool Spurs game is 5 minutes before the end, because you only see 1 goal and you miss the other 3 and a penalty miss as well. Ruffy, I shouldn't have gone out for a meal. I should have stayed there and watched it right to the end.
Yeah, I think anybody who pays their money to go to these games down in the Premiership, it's your peril if you leave, because there's so many big quality players on show, and all they need is 1 glimpse at goal, and that's what Harry Kane did.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet you there was some Liverpool fans thought, 1-0, I think I'm going to head away, get out, beat the traffic, get to a train, or maybe get into the car and go home and catch an early meal. You missed it. 2-2 is how it finished there. I still think that Tottenham are going to be in that top 4. It's such a tough one to call. Manchester City, then Manchester United, and then anyone from 3 or 4 who are all battling for 3rd and 4th place. Are Arsenal in there? I can't work them out, Ruffy. A real hammering to Everton at the weekend.
Yeah, but I have to say, I've said it on record as well, you come up against an Arsenal team in that kind of form and the way they play, as a supporter, it's fantastic to watch. And obviously when they win games that comfortably, you go away happy. I still think they'll have something to offer, but I think the teams that you've just mentioned there, I think they've all got something to offer. I don't think anybody could go in and put a bet on who it's going to be.
Yeah, okay then. Just one other little man that I've got to mention in the English Premier League is Sean Dyche. If he keeps Burnley in that top half of the table at the end of the season, surely somebody, a bigger club's got to look at him. Not that I want to prize him out of Burnley, but he just works wonders. That was 1-1 against a Man City side, albeit they could have won by a barrel load at times.
Yeah, not one of the most fancied teams that have come into the division, but you're right, he's bought the right players, he's set his stall out how to play. They don't get turned over, they might get beat on the occasion, but they don't get turned over 4 and 5 nothing. His team is very, very organised and they pick up points against obviously the bigger sides.
Yep, okay. Worried about my old mate David Moyes. West Ham beaten at the weekend. Strangely enough, they're up close to mid-table, but it's only 3 points, and you could find yourself suddenly down in that bottom 3.
Yeah, I think Davies most ejected is don't be in that bottom 3. We all want him to see him getting another contract at a club, a contract of 2 and 3 years, that he could show everybody that given the money he could bring in the right players. And I'm sure everything he's doing now at West Ham is very, very good, but he can't afford to go into that bottom 3.
Okay, you can give us your view on your favourite team in the Premier League as well. Look out on PLZ Soccer, especially on YouTube, Twitter and Facebook for some competitions we've got coming up. Some fabulous prizes on the way. But from Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.